Kia ora, good morning everyone. Welcome to Central Hawke's Bay Museum. My name is Jana Uhlírova. I have been the curator manager of Central Hawke's Bay Museum for the last 14 years. And today we are here to talk a little bit about how we receive donations of objects for our collection. Most of the collections here at the museum been donated by the local community, and that's the only thing how our collection grows. So we don't have any active policy to collecting. So this is how we acquire all our items. It is quite an important process to have in a place, because what it means is that when people donate objects to the museum, we need to make sure that it's done correctly, and the transformation of the ownership is done by signing a document. Every year, the museum receives about 50 donations. Used to be a little bit more in the early days, but lately it's not as much. But still also we have to go through a policy what's suitable for our collection as well. So in the olden days, people just basically could dump everything. Like we had about hundreds of old typewriters and sewing machines, because this was the place to deposit it rather than going to the dump. So these days we have a much better process in place, and that means we don't get that many donations. Here on the table I have just few examples of what we do and what has been donated to the museum in the last year. This is our deed of gift donation form, which is very crucial document. Every single person who comes to the museum with a donation needs to fill this form and sign it, which means that the ownership of the object's been transferred from the owner to the museum. Also, it means in the future we can track all our donors, because we keep them in our database. So all the information about the person who donated the item, as well as the item itself, is entered in our collection management database called Past Perfect. And as I mentioned, if somebody in the future wants to come and see the item or find any relevant information, we can track that down. So that's a very important part. Also, another important part is the way how we number items. So as you can see, on the top of the document says 2024.35. So that indicates that in the year 2024, this is donation number 35. And that's how we continue. And then we enter this number in the database. And this number here, it indicates the number of the actual deeds of gift since we started documenting. So it means that we got 1,034 donations forms in our collection. Every donation is different. One donation can be only for one item. Some can have even, like, I think our largest donation was almost 400 items. So you can imagine that it's varies a lot. And in this case, it was 3 items. Now, we got all sorts of different objects. I have example of photographs, trophy, small photographs, whole collection of photographs, painting, and dolls. So what happened after the objects been accessioned to the collection? We have to photograph it, measure it, take all the necessary information about the object we have, and then decide if it's going to be used on display, in exhibition, or put in storage. If it's going into storage, then we have to pack it correctly and then store it. Not easy to get into the box. It's well packed. Here we are. Okay. So in October 2023, we got this letter from Margaret Very in Wellington, and saying, we just were cleaning our mother's house and found these two dolls which might be interest for you for the Central Hawke's Bay Museum, because these two Maori handcrafted dolls were actually made in Waipawa. So that was very relevant items, but not also that. But the owners said that these Maori dolls were actually made during World War II by local Pakeha women who were actually using some of their Maori friends as a models, and these dolls were made as a souvenirs for American soldiers who then took them with them to America as a souvenir from New Zealand. They are extremely beautiful. Unfortunately, we don't have any names who could make them or any closer information, but they came on a courier from Wellington, and they are connected to Waipawa history. So as you can see, each item has the number. As I mentioned, that means 2023. It was donated in 2023. It was donation number 40, and there were two items in the donation, so two dolls, number 1, number 2. So I will show you the other one as well. The other doll is a little bit smaller. The heads are actually paper mache, so they are very fragile. And the details on the face is extremely beautiful. Another interesting donation which happened last year is here in this box. This is our label for to find it in the storage. So again, it says it's donated in 2023, donation number 24, and there was only one item in the donation. And this is a very special trophy related to Waipawa County Coursing Club, which was given to Alfred Gary in 1892. This silver cup is very beautifully engraved and has actual landscape of Waipawa surroundings. It was awarded to Alfred Gary and his dog Juliet. They won the inaugural coursing event for greyhound dogs. And the interesting thing is that this event was never held again. So it is a unique cup. And the cup was donated by Alfred Gary's granddaughter, Margaret Williamson. And if I go back and find the deed gift, I will be able to tell you when it came from, where it came from. So here we are. This cup came from Thames in Coromandel, again in a courier. So we are really lucky that people who live out of Waipawa or Central Hawke's Bay district are still willing to donate items which are related to our history, and it comes from all around New Zealand. All right, and the last item I want to talk, which, oh, not actually last, one of the last, which we got last year, is a painting by Mavis Sexton. Mavis was a very active member of the Otani Arts and Craft art group. She moved to Otani with her husband in 1970s, and she painted many local sceneries, and we can find lots of her paintings in Central Hawke's Bay homes or even in local businesses, because they really depict the local scenery. This one is actually watercolor of back of the Waipawa shops. It's very interesting to get donated a painting, because we actually are not an art gallery. But I must admit that in the last few years we started to accept paintings and artworks as well, to extend the museum's collection to include local art as well, because it's good to be able to document the local art scene as well as the history. We had a call from a gentleman, and he was descendant of the Dillon family, which was one of the early settlers family who settled in Patangata near Otani. Because of that strong connection with Central Hawke's Bay, we organized a special morning tea meetings with the descendant of the Dillon's family and with some member of the museum committee, and had really good talk about the family history and how these early families were important for creating and contributing to the history. So this is one of the donation. It was mainly photographs of the members of the family. But again, this picture ended up in the storage. But because of the relevance and importance of that family, we already put some of the framed pictures on the wall. We have also all the correspondence with the family, and they also send us some family tree and newspaper article. I will take this with you so I can tell you who are the people on the pictures. So please come with me. So here we are in our bedroom, and you can see these two portraits on a wall on display, which came from this same donation from the Dillon's family descendants. This is the third generation of Alfred and Rebecca, who came in 1800. And this is Thomas Pay and his wife Elizabeth, who settled in Otani. Another part of the museum collection is collection of historic photographs of Central Hawke's Bay. I can't remember now exactly when, I think it was 2019. We received a collection of Alistair Jones of historic photographs of Waipukurau from his daughter. and part of it's a large collection. It's contained more than 500 photographs and other archival material. But this is just one of the box with historic photographs. They've all been catalogued, scanned, numbered, and we keep them in this polypropylene envelopes which are designed for holding old photographs. Each photograph had been given a number, so it's easily researched. But I would really like to talk about this photograph here, which is the photograph of the foundation members of Vaipukurau branch of Red Cross Society. This photograph is from opening day in 1914, just at the beginning of the war, in Russell Park in Vaipukurau. But what's very interesting is that description at the back of the photograph is actually telling us a story about how the nurses from the Red Cross used to make dressing gowns for the soldiers in World War I. And there is a specific dressing gown story which went to World War I in England and got back with a soldier from Ashburton, and the dressing gown is now in the Ashburton Museum. And all the information is written here on this photograph. And luckily enough, at this moment, we are holding an exhibition about Pukiora Sanatorium, which was established after World War I for returned soldiers from the war who had problems with respiratory system after being gassed in the war. And part of this exhibition is this exact dressing gown from this. We found the information from this photograph, which is here in this case, and it's on loan from the Ashburton Museum. And the soldier was Ralph John Templeton, born in Kaipoi in September 1895. He was very badly wounded in the World War I, and he had one leg amputated. But he came back from the war, he came back to Ashburton, and he brought this dressing gown with him. And the dressing gown ended up in the Ashburton Museum. And obviously, this person who did the description knew about it and recorded it here. And so we just contacted the museum and asked, oh, do you happen to have a dressing gown which was made in Vaipukurau by the Red Cross? And they said yes. And we were able to loan it and have it here on display for this exhibition.